So, good evening, good evening, good evening. We are back again. This time, we're going to talk about Liverpool, all things football, Klopp, FSG. Who better to get on than the family man, the community man, GRIZZ'S Khan? What are you saying, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We're just having a little bit of a laugh off here. You know how the golden child has done me out here. But we will get into it. We'll get into it slowly. And now I know why you're the golden child. Because look at you, man. Lovely bronze color. Putting your clothes on at 6 p.m. in the 5 p.m. in the afternoon. You know, after having a lovely day out in the sun. And there's us. Actually, it's not too bad. I don't know if you can see out here. It's not. My garden's obviously the grass.
It's not raining, so that's a start.
Yeah, it's we've had a nice weekend, but obviously not as good as where you are, but it is what it is, isn't it? But thank you, man. Thank you very much for me having on. I was thinking, you know that, but we'll get into it. Sorry, I won't say what I was thinking yet. We'll wait.
Mate, I've been watching you on the Big Six. You have me in stitches, man. You're such a troll, I swear. But you do it with such a plain, straight face. Yeah, it's like people serious on it.
Listen, everyone has to do it in their own way. You know what I mean? I'm not young as some of them, so I can't go in there all guns blazing. I've got to do it a little bit more differently. Do you know what I mean? Like I've got to come with a bit more. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, you know, you got to troll. Still, that's a troll show, man. But people like it, man. And the beauty of it, you know what? I always say the beauty of it is we're all natural. That's us, you know. That's literally us. We're not like that off screen. We're like that in person every day when we speak to each other. That is us, and that's what makes it work, Lee. Because if you're fake, people see through it, Lee. People see through it every single time. If you're putting it on, if you're fake, if you're not like that on your other platforms, but we're all like that, man. We're all like that. We gun each other on social media, Twitter. We're having and people thinking that we're having offs, but we're not. That's us.
And that's the thing. I've out of the lads that are on there, I've only met Turkish person, like face to face. Yeah, but Turkish is the same on camera and off camera. He's so chilled, man. Proper chilled guy. Like, just literally relaxed. Like, he never gets too animated on camera or off camera. But I can imagine the same with the others as well, because like the chemistry on that show, I think that's the best podcast. And I'm not trying to blow a smoke up your backside or nothing. Do you know what I mean? But
no. I know you're not like that. So I know you say how it is. So you know, I mean, that's respected. So yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie. It's good. Good bunch of lads. You know what I mean? And you're right. Turkish is like that. People think, is he really like that laid back? Whether you win, lose, draw, whatever. Like he's in his own world, and he's like that. He's proper like that every time. And the rest of them are as well, man. It's a good laugh.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. I've done shows with all of them over the years, man.
Yeah, of course you have. Yeah,
they're good lads, man. That's a reason why they've all got my phone number.
100%.
So many people have it. But anyway, where should we start? Let's start with your season so far, man. Your transfer window. You brought in Noodles, as everyone's calling him. It's not been great for him, obviously getting sent off. He got triggered by Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Did a stupidness right in front of the ref. I mean, he looked at the ref, said, "Ref, sort him out," and then you went sort him out. Cool, posh. It was mad, and that's coincided with you not really looking great going forward. Yeah, not looking great defensively either. And then midfield, you've had a catastrophe with injuries and stuff like that. So, do you think that you, like with your transfer window, do you think that you didn't do enough? Did you have to go and get more in?
Yeah, 100%. It's a wild one because before we came on, I was thinking the last time I came on your show and I actually looked it up was again when we were having a disaster of a period. And I remember the same questions from you. And I remember the same replies that you're going to get. So people, if you do remember the last time I was on Lee's channel, you remember we were going for a disaster spell and Lee asked the same questions like, is this it? Roundabouts way. And I said, no, we're going to come back strong. We did.
Home games, wasn't it?
Just after the COVID season.
Yes.
Yeah, so you said, well, you know, and I said, no, we're going to come back strong. That's when the big dogs catchphrase came out. We're going to be back. The big dog is going to be back. And we came back in a way. Obviously not the ultimate way last season. But my God, 95% of the fucking clubs around the world would have died for the season we had. Like play every single game, reach every final. And I know people say, yeah, but you didn't get over the line. But that's the way sport works. Fine margins. When you're at the very, very top, we were 15 minutes away. And people don't want to hear it. Well, no problem. Don't hear it. But I'm here to speak on it. We were so close to fucking literally immortality. that expectations, especially from me, Lee, it's the first time this season I thought we're going to win it. Like when people ask me who's the favourites, I always say Man City. And it's not a pessimistic way of looking at it. I just think Man City. I speak honest truth. I don't try not to be deluded. I may come across it sometimes, but you've got to be real. And I said, Man City, closely followed by us, it's going to be a close race. And it's always a close race. This season, Lee, I thought with the World Cup, with the changes and everything, and with the amount of players they've got going to the World Cup with us, I thought I make us slight favourites. But we've been blown away with injuries, and you talk about the strikers not playing well. I could name you 7-8 players that are so shit out of form. It's unbelievable. And then people always ask the question, Lee, they always relate it back to when did you do enough in the transfer market then? And I've said it, no. I've said it on my platform. I've said it on any platform that I've asked for. That people have asked me. I said no. But the difference between me and the people that kind of demand it and want to speak on it every single day and night is that's where the difference is, Lee. Chapter's closed now. Transfer's closed now. We fucked up in the transfer market. Now we have to work with what we got. And that's the situation we find ourselves in. He's got to find a way out of this. He's got to work his magic. If he don't, he'll be under pressure at the end of the season.
Yeah, mate, I just looked at the Premier League table now. Despite your poor start, you are actually only 5 points behind Man City.
And I only look at City. I only look at City. It don't matter if Arsenal are leading, Chelsea are leading, Spurs are leading, Man United are losing. I only look at City. And if we're 5 points behind City, their next game would have been Spurs. We know Spurs have got the fucking voodoo over them.
Yeah.
And we had Wolves at home. All right, we're not playing well, but I'd still somehow manage. We think we're going to manage. Anything could have happened this week. We could have been 2 points behind them. Do you know what I mean? After all the hoo-ha. So look, fair's fair. At the end of the day, you can only judge it and speak on what you've seen so far. And what I've seen so far, Lee, is I've only called Liverpool's performances under Klopp embarrassing about 5 times since he's been here. Lee, I've called it embarrassing twice already this season. That's mad. That is mad. They've been embarrassing.
Well, why do you think that is, though? Because I've looked at Virgil van Dijk this season, and he just looks a shadow of the player he was.
Shadow.
Like, is that the injury? Is that just the rest of the team around him, or is that just these?
I don't know, Lee. There's been this wild. I don't know. Like last season, it took him. I was critical of him last season as well. If there's any Liverpool people that follow me on my channels, they'll know. I was a little bit. Oh, I'm going to talk about Konate. You don't know how much I rate Konate. If you don't know, I'm about to tell you. But Virgil van Dijk, Lee, even up to December, was not great last season. But it was understandable because of the injury coming back. We said he's going to take up to December. And that's where we lost those 1 point in the end. But that's where we lost a couple of points because of the defensive performances. 2-2 at Brighton, Brentford away, 2-2 or 3-3, I should say. Couple of draws here and there. That's where we lost it. West Ham away. Yeah, those 3 games come to mind. And Virgil wasn't great. Virgil wasn't great then. But then come December, January time, Lee, he became back to his best. He became back real hard and strong. And then he's played every game. Lee, after doing his ACL at his age, it's not plain and simple. People think, so many examples of people that have come back from ACLs are not the same anymore. And I don't know the medical side of it because I'm not qualified. But to have an ACL done and then play every single game of football that's possibly you're allowed to play, non-stop, pre-season shortened. Let's not forget, Lee, pre-season shortened. And now he's gone straight back into the season and he's got the World Cup on his mind. Now, someone put in my head the other day, Grizz, do you think it's because it's the first time he's captaining his nation to a World Cup? Do you know what I mean? It's not every day you get a chance to captain your country to the World Cup. You haven't got fucking intruders, have you?
No, I was thinking there was a hornet flying around. I had one in here yesterday. It was like this big.
Fuck's sake,
so I
man.
thought it was a hornet slapping off the patio door. But
yeah, so when people put that in my head, I don't want to think of it like that. Like, is Virgil van Dijk really thinking about captaining his team to the World Cup? And it's kind of holding him back in certain games. I haven't got no proof to say he isn't. I haven't got no proof to say he is, Lee. But his performances have have stunk out the gaff. I'm going to be real, especially for the caliber of player that he is. Yeah, VVD's knackered, Anfield Red says. After a serious injury, he played 54. Yeah, he played 64 games last year. He needs a rest. But we've gone straight into the season. We've lost Konate to a fucking innocuous pre-season friendly training game accident against Strasbourg. Knees collided, and he's put him out for 2 months.
When is he back? Is he going to be like?
He's back. He's back now. He's back after the He's back after the international break. He's back.
Okay,
but so that's good. 7-8 games. First week of October, and for me, Konate is one of the best young centre backs, and he proved it last season. He's magnificent.
He's a big boy as well.
He's
like, but not just like he's big physically, but he has big presence on the pitch as well. When I've watched him, like for you guys, which isn't often, I'll be honest. Yeah, like I watch all the games, but I haven't seen him. But when I have seen him, he's got that. Like I know it's a different position, but Ibrahimovic looks massive on the football pitch, doesn't he? Like, and he's a big guy, but his touch and his like composure. I feel like he's similar. Like you see him on the pitch from flipping out, he's massive. But then he gets the ball and you're like, wow, this guy can play as well.
Bro, Lee, he played wing back. He played at times for Leipzig, he played right back. That's how quick he is as well. People don't know how quick he is. Do you know how many times that's why we're able to leave him 2 against 2 so many times last season. But it's not the same this season without him because again, Gomez has stepped in because Matip's been injured and Gomez is coming back from that. People forget Gomez is coming back from 2 of those horrible injuries, people. Not 1, 2. And then the other day was, I don't know what to say, Lee. It was, because I love Joe Gomez. I think he's such a nice guy. Nightmare's not the word. That's like, that could end a lot of top players' careers psychologically, especially if you're young. Have you done it? Have you spilled it?
Yeah, I've just spilled beer all over my Mac.
What a knob. Not over your laptop, right?
Yeah, all over.
Oh, shit. But yeah, look, people know that 1920 season before his injury, Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk partnership was said to be one of the best in world football because basically we went unbeaten for near enough 18 months, literally. And that's how good it was defensively as well. But he's come back off 2 mad injuries. And the other day, that was a disaster class, man. I don't know what way to put it. He looked weak. He looked nervous.
It like somebody just plucked him out of the crowd and said, "Do you fancy a game, mate?"
Pure like
it was that bad, wasn't it?
It was that bad. Shall I tell you what it reminded me of? Do you remember when, or I don't know if you remember, but Spurs smashed us 4-1 at Wembley when they were playing at Wembley, and Lovren had one of those games where that's the turning point. That's him done at the club. I know you've had fucking loads with so I mean I could name 5-6 of your centre-backs.
We had it with Oxlade-Chamberlain against you lot, but we already knew that he was leaving.
No, but centre-backs. You know when you have
Anfield.
You know when you have one of those Mustafi performances, this is done. Or so many David Luiz or Koscielny, whoever. Like that was one of those performances with Lovren. We knew it was done. His time is up. But then and look, and this is shown again how much people disrespect Joel Matip, Lee Gunner. I'm going to say again and again and again, people do not respect Joel Matip enough. Because without Joel Matip, you see the influence he has on the team. Joel Matip don't look like a beast, don't play like a beast, but his reading of the game, he's not fast, he's not physically strong, he's tall, but he's lanky tall, if you know what I mean. Where Konate is built like a fucking beast animal, yeah? And Virgil as well. Matip is one of the most smartest centre-backs you're ever likely to see. And people know about him carrying the ball and bringing out defence. And we've missed him. And that's just the start of our problems, Lee. I know you probably want to go into midfield. I don't even know where to start.
Mate, big up to everyone watching. There's 1,300 in here, by the way. GRIZZ'S channel link is pinned to the live chat, so make sure you go and show him some love, people. It's also in the description of the video for anyone watching on playback. Fire the likes up. Let me just quickly read the super chat out as well. Big up Gunner down under. It was just a matter of time before Liverpool got found out. Their defensive side of the game always got bowed out by their ability to press from the front and be ruthless in front of goal. And Arnold is a fraud defensively. Big up Gunner down under. Go and subscribe to his channel as well, guys. I want to ask you about the strikers and the wingers and stuff like that before we go midfield, and that's why I wanted to read that out now, because he mentioned about the press. He mentioned about the You know, you get bowed out a little bit because if you're pressing from the front defensively, it's a little bit easier because you're not really touching the ball, are you? It's like,
he's got a very good point, Lee. He's got a very good point, Lee.
Back in the midfield, suffocating them and then bang you on the attack again. What has happened to your front three this season? I know Firmino scored a few goals. I know they've all chipped in here and there. Salah looks completely lost, you know, and Diaz has probably been your best player this season, by the way. Yeah, from what I've seen.
What's happened is what happens when you have a split up of probably the best front three of the last 5-6 years in the Premier League. So when you lose a legend like Sadio Mane, all right, and then you bring in Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, who's only in his second season, remember?
Yeah.
And then Nunez, it's not going to be A, B, C, D. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to be clockwork, is it, people? And I say this to Liverpool fans as well. Obviously, outside fans going to just want to know, oh, shit, that's fucked. Yeah, it looks fucked right now. But Mane, Bobby, and Salah were like that because they played 5 years of non-stop football together. So their understanding was telepathic. Luis Diaz, people have seen his individual ability. He's fucking ridiculous on the ball. But he's not going to understand that partnership Mane and Robertson had, for example. He's not going to understand the trigger presses that Sadio Mane. Sadio Mane was like a defender from the front. Diogo Jota smashed it last season and then gets injured during the summer. See, people won't want to hear this, but it's the fact. He got injured for Portugal and hasn't started our season. People talk about Nunez. Diogo Jota would have been the starting striker for Liverpool this season. People don't know that. I can tell you that for a fact. Diogo Jota would have started. Nunez would have been eased in. Instead, because of the injury to Jota, he's had to be thrown in at the deep end.
When's Jota back?
Jota's back now as well. Jota's back now as well. So this is why we're going to get into
this weekend as being cancelled has boosted you really, because now you've got an extra week on the training ground.
Mate,
players coming back. So you've
mate,
had a result.
I hate international breaks and I hate when football's cancelled. But you know what I mean? Obviously, God rest her soul as well, obviously, first and foremost, you know what I mean, to the Queen. But this couldn't have come back from a selfish Liverpool point of view at a great time. Lee, this is us out for 3 weeks now, 3-4 weeks. We don't have no football. And Jurgen Klopp's at his best when he has time on the training ground, because he's a training ground coach. We have all of our players back. By the time football comes back to the Premier League, we will have only Ox. Need I say anymore? Like, here's what, you know, Ox is out. Oh, surprise, surprise. Ox is out, and Naby will be out, possibly.
And
They're the only ones.
He's been pretty poor since he signed for you. Like,
he's been pretty poor as well.
Just every time he plays, he's been shit. Really.
He's not justified it. And when people talk about flops for Liverpool, I'm very, very happy to accept when people say he's been a £50 million flop. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not stupid. I can't make up stuff. You can see it. He's had about 6 games where you think, oh, Naby. In 4 years, people. I don't know if any Liverpool.
I remember when you signed him. I was like, 50 million. It's like, wow. And then
we don't make fuck ups like that.
His first game.
We don't make fuck ups like over £30 million signings. We can make the odd below cheap signings that can fuck up, like carriers can fuck up. Do you know what I mean? I guess Shaqiri wasn't a fuck up, actually. Shaqiri scored bare goals for us and assists, like, in important games. So I wouldn't call Shaqiri a fuck up for 10, 12 million. That's a good signing. But mostly our expensive signings always come off. And that's why there's pressure on. But Naby, you can definitely put under a flop. And that's why there's going to be spotlight on Darwin Nunez, because, you know what I mean, a whole heap of money. But it's wild. But it's wild to judge him this early, Lee. It's pure wild. The way he roughed up Man City in the Charity Shield, and then Fulham, he came on. He fucked up. He got done, as you said. Rattled is the exact word. He got rattled by the Palace centre back.
That's now set a precedent, though, because now every centre back in the league now knows they can just run around and wind him up, and he's got that tendency to snap.
But I'm good with that. But I'm good with that. It's happened, though. Honestly, it won't happen again. Trust me, because of the coach. Because coach knows about this. Because coach is a wind-up merchant himself.
So he's
a wind-up.
Do you think with him that he's he's good enough technically to play in that side up front. Because
no, he's not good. He's not good technically.
When you look at Salah, when you look at Jota, Firmino, they're all levels clear of him, man. Like technically, and I don't particularly rate Salah that highly. Yeah, I know you lot love him. Yeah, I don't think he's that great. Yeah, but he's still levels above Nunez. Like I've watched Nunez this season, and I don't think I've seen him strike a ball properly yet. It's always been here and a little shin here. I mean, even when he came on, and listen, to be fair, what you said, he did put Fulham on edge because his movement's pretty decent. Yeah, and they couldn't contain the movement. The same with Man City when he came on in the final. Yeah, but I think, like, I don't know, maybe it's the pressure, maybe it's the price tag, maybe it's a new country trying to learn the language, maybe it's all of them things that he hasn't. It just looks like he's not trying too hard, but it's almost like everything's a little bit forced, if that makes sense. It's not been fluid yet. And do you think he's the right player in that system that he plays, Klopp, with him as the focal point in the striker position?
So let's get back to because obviously there was a big hoo-ha amongst the Liverpool fan base. Not a big hoo-ha. Fucking what I mean by big hoo-ha is like on my platform, I'm fucking only small. But what I mean by that is because what happened, Lee, right? When we were playing Benfica, I had a Benfica fan. He's a journalist, actually. Zach Lowry, shout out Zach Lowry. And we were doing a preview, and a couple of Liverpool fans on the preview as well, and they said, "Oh, Benfica, danger man, Nunez." And I was like, "Nah, not for me." They were like, "What? Not for you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I prefer that." My mind's gone blank now. Speedy winger for Benfica, lads and lasses. If there's anyone in the chat, Benfica, the speedy winger. I said he's the danger man. They were like, "Nah, Darwin, Rafa, that's it." Yeah. And I said he's the danger man. They go, "You don't rate Nunez?" I said, "I think he's good. I think he's got attributes, but he's not my type of striker, Lee. Like what you said, he's not my style." Everyone has a preference. People go wild when you give an opinion. It doesn't mean it's fact. It just means that's my opinion. My style of a striker is not Darwin Nunez. So I cussed him down basically, right? And then what happens? 3 weeks later, we're back to sign him. So people grizz in the mud. Now he's got arselick Nunez. Why have I got arselick Nunez? So Nunez gets to Liverpool, and obviously you can imagine the chat goes off in it.
Yeah.
Go on and talk to us about Nunez now. What? He's the best thing since. I said no. I said since that 3-4 weeks, I've looked into him more and more and more because I know he's coming to my club. By the way, I'm the one who told the Liverpool fan base that we're getting Nunez before anyone else. By the way, ITK before anyone else, and they know that. The Liverpool fans know that. So I said, yeah, it's a done deal. Before the Champions League final, I said it. Anyway, Lee, this is my very basic layman summary because I'm not a fucking coach. I'm not a scout. I'm not a professional. This is my layman's opinion on Darwin Nunez then, and it hasn't changed now, Lee. So I'm consistent. I said he's got attributes that I can see having an impact in the Premier League. Why? Because Premier League strikers are all about pace, power, running into channels, being good in the air, being a presence, being in and around the penalty box, hungry for goals, scrappy finishes, call them what you want. I said he will score loads of goals for Liverpool. But I'll still say he's no way, in my opinion, people, only in my opinion, he's no way worth the price. I would have preferred better strikers or different type of strikers for Liverpool Football Club. But that's me. What the fuck do I know? So when people say, "Oh, you've changed your mind," I haven't. I'm saying he's still not my type of striker, but I can see how Jurgen Klopp's got Bobby Firmino, Salah, Jota, Diaz, all different types of strikers, and he's added a different type of weapon. He's added a different plan B, so to speak. Look at Juve bringing Vlahovic, someone different from Dybala. Look at Pep Guardiola bringing in Haaland, completely different to Ferran Torres as replaced.
Same at AC Milan, they got Giroud when they've got Leao.
AC Milan, Giroud. Look at Inter bringing back Lukaku. They fucked up without Lukaku. Look at all the clubs in world football, Lee. What kind of striker has come back into fashion? Tell me. What big, fast, powerful number 9, old school. And this is why the Liverpool think that he'll be something different. If you're going to ask me, is he going to be a failure I don't know. I don't think he's going to be a failure, but he's not my style of striker. He's not what I would have paid 65 going on to 85 if he reaches all the goals. I wouldn't have paid 85 million for him. And that's it.
But that's
I'm
the
being
going
really
rate,
honest.
Unfortunately, that's the market, isn't it? Like, you've seen
I
players.
would have preferred, I would have preferred going for Vlahovic the season before if we were going to spend that kind of money. I would have myself preferred Nkunku from Leipzig, who we tried as well. I would have preferred Amin Guri from the French league, the team he plays for, gone from my mind again. So these are when people said, who would you have preferred? I would have preferred these kind of strikers. I would have preferred Osimhen. People say that. I know he absolutely dunked on Liverpool the other day, but people will know again that I've been speaking on Osimhen for the last year and a half. I said he's the one, and how he's not been snapped up by big boys. Like Man United could have, Nice. Man United could have done with Osimhen. They're looking for a striker. But Man United went for Darwin Nunez-Lee because they knew the kind of striker that he is. So certain clubs wanted to go in a direction. I don't think he's going to be a failure because of the coach and the way he operates, and he makes players better. But he's not my number one choice. He was never my number one choice. And so now I'm not going to be a hypocrite and sit on Lee Gunner's show and say, yeah, you know what? He's always been my number one. I rate him. I don't.
No, well, the chat don't forget anything, mate. So even if you did be roasting them,
they'll be killing me. They'll be saying, no, you said X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
I didn't. They know it.
You're this, you're that.
Yeah.
But it's mad. I'm surprised there. I want to get your thoughts on Ivan Toney because he is a Liverpool fan as well, right? And I'm surprised nobody has gone in for him this summer. Man, that guy is sick, bro. And I think at Liverpool, I think he'd smash it. I think he'd smash it at any of the top 6 clubs, if I'm honest. I think he's that good. But I'm surprised nobody's got him. Why do you think he's still at Brentford? Obviously, nobody put a bid in for him at all, from what we've heard or not heard.
I don't get it. I'm with you. I don't get it. I don't get how the big boys haven't, unless they were warned off like he's 60, 70. Because again, I don't think he's a 67 million pound player, Lee, in my opinion. I think he's a very good player. I think he's got potential. But the only time you'll see that potential if he goes and smashes it at a big club. Because it's all right at Brentford scoring a hat-trick very rarely, but getting a goal every 5-6 games. Because, I've got a bet since then that he won't score 12 to 15 goals in the league this season. And people are like, oh my God, he's got 5 already.
Cash him out straight away.
He won't get 12 to 15 goals in the Premier League.
You don't think? I think he got 12 last season. Did he get 12 last season, Tony?
I don't know, but I've said it now, so I got to stick with it now. I said to people, find out how many did Ivan Toney get in the last season? In the league. In the league,
he got 12 goals last season.
But the point I'm trying to make is that kind of pressure or that kind of goal scoring won't work at a top 6 club ratio. He's got to go to a big club, and he's got to prove it. Like Ollie Watkins, I don't think Ollie Watkins is a top striker. I don't. People can rate him. No problem.
I think he's a good player, but I think he'd be better in a 2 up front.
I think Ivan Toney's better technically. I think Ivan Toney's better technically than Watkins.
Better. But I think when Watkins plays with Danny Ings, I think he looks so much better in a 2. When he's
Lee. But check this out: how many of the top 6 play 2 up front? Anymore?
Exactly. But this is the thing: teams like Brentford, Brighton, Aston Villa, they'll do that.
Have a set way of playing.
About the pressure, because it's the same with Potter now. He's at Chelsea. I rate Graham Potter, not just because I look like him, but because he is actually a very good But I think he's really good. But the thing is, when it's a different type of pressure now, because he's now going into a club at Chelsea where you have to win every game. At Brighton, it don't matter if you finish 17th, you ain't getting sacked. As long as the football's pretty and it's nice and the fans are happy, they don't expect anything other than to be in the Premier League.
Spot on, absolutely spot on. Because it's a total different kind of pressure. And not only that, Lee, he's dealing with Raheem Sterling. He's dealing with Koulibaly. He's dealing with Silva. He's dealing with people that have won the biggest prizes at the biggest clubs more than him. There is an element, and I know we don't like saying it and we don't like thinking it's true, but you know as well as I do, Lee, there is an element of players turning on coaches that they think they're bigger than. So, for example, I can imagine Sterling saying, if he's being ordered to do something, Sterling can say, are you telling me what to do? Like, who are you? What have you won? And believe it or not, these kind of things do happen, people.
All day long.
It's not love stories everywhere. People will like, new manager, we love Potter. A lot of these players have got massive, huge egos. And all it takes is one bad apple to say, mate, are you telling me what to do? And then that can create a toxic.
And then they're in group chats.
He has to deal with that.
All of a sudden, you get a player revolt, didn't you? Like,
this shit happens.
Especially at Chelsea, it happens a lot.
This shit happens, mate. I'm telling you. And we know now that it fucking happened to Tuchel, who's a bloody good manager. So if they switched on Tuchel, who's to say, unless he gets rid of any type of toxic rats that are around it, who's to say it won't happen to Potter? But I'm like you, I rate Potter very highly. I hate it that he's gone to Chelsea. I absolutely hate it because I can't stand Chelsea. If there's Chelsea fans in the chat, I don't give a shit. I can't stand it. Like A to Z, I'm not apologizing. I can't stand it. It's rotten to the core. Hate it. But you've got a good man. You've got a good man. I have to call a spade a spade. You know what I mean? They've got a good man. But will they stick with him, Lee? Because Potter's a project. Yeah.
How long
will they stick with him?
The thing is, I like him, and you know what? He's earned his stripes, and he deserves a big club. To go from Ostersund, and I was in Ostersund when we played him, and he was the manager. Minus 15, mate. Like, it was so cold watching that game. But they played good football, but we beat them comfortably. When we went back to the Emirates the week later, they played us off the park, mate. Like, and when they scored the second goal, like, literally, it was like a morgue. Like, you could hear pins dropping and everything. It was like, shit, are they actually going to come back and knock us out? Yeah, and obviously we ended up getting through. But he then went Swansea, and then Brighton nabbed him. And mate, they other than Man City, I think they play the best football in the league. Yeah, like,
they're lovely to watch.
System, you have a different style, yeah, but like, and it's nice to watch at times. But Man City, you can see the pretty patterns constantly. And you can see that with Brighton, and this is where I'm worried about Potter at Chelsea, because with the money available, and if they do that pretty tippy tappy football, bro, there's no limit to where they can go with their levels, because Chelsea fans have never really seen pretty football.
I was speaking to Chelsea fans. I was like, when was the last time you really enjoyed the football at your club? And he was like, fucking ages. Because I can't remember. Like, I can't remember playing good football and enjoying the game. Like, obviously we support and we enjoy it, but it's true though. But I don't know, Lee, will they have to just sit back and let him do his work? Are they going to let him? Are they going to do that? Are they going to sit back and let him do his work?
I think they will, and I think they've had this lined up for a while, because like Tuchel, like in pre-season we beat him 4-0. Yeah, and in the interview after that game, he said,
"You could say who's dead." Yeah, you could tell something's going on.
Like, well, what do you expect? I've still got the same players as last season. Yeah, and that was a direct shot at the owner. We see Scott Parker get sacked for that the other day. Yeah, so I think from probably around that time, plus a few players have probably said something. The thing is, I've seen a lot of people saying, "Well, why back him in the transfer window?" But let's be real. How many of the players that they've signed this summer he actually wanted? We don't know. Aubameyang, you could say, yeah, they've worked together. He wanted him. Yeah, but Cucurella, did he want him when he's got Chilwell there? I don't know. Cucurella is a top player, by the way, but did he want him? I don't know. Then Fofana, well, they wanted Koundé. Yeah, and they ended up with Fofana for more money, which is just insane. Then they've gone and got Koulibaly. Did he want Koulibaly? Probably not. Then you go into midfield, deadline day. They get Zakaria. Did he want him? Probably not. You get Sterling. I could understand why he takes Sterling, because none of them wingers score goals.
But the point being, but Lee, do you think what it is, right, is like, if you think that Potter's been lined up for a little while, that means the signings are not Potter's either, Lee. So if they've spent 270 million in this summer, are we saying that they're going to spend like this again in January and next summer? Because that's fucking wild if that's the case. Because if you're saying that they've had this plan for a little while, I don't think they have. I think there's been a falling out with Tuchel, and it's been a clash of personalities. And I've said this for a while. There's going to be a clash of personalities. This Todd Bowley, he's coming like a proper gunslinger. Yeah, he's coming a gunslinger. Sacked all the director of footballs. He hasn't looked at the structure. He's gone and tried to sign all these players himself. Ronaldo, Koundé, Rafinha, whoever. Wild goose chase of trials of players all over Europe. And Tuchel's sitting there thinking, what are you doing? Like, ask me. I'm the coach. I'm the manager. I've been here. I'm the man who knows football. You don't know fuck all about football. You know about business. Can you talk to me, please? And I think there's been a big clash of personalities, and Tuchel's, they've, you know what I mean? I think that's why they've got Potter, because Potter likes working under a director of football and giving the players. But Potter needs a particular type of player. He hasn't ever worked with a ready-made player. Is it fair to say, Lee? Because I don't think any of these Trossards, Pascal Gross, Lewis Dunk, Cucurella, Tariq Lamptey, Basuma, none of these were ready-made world-class players. He's made them.
Never managed a world-class player. Let's be real, ever.
So he steps into a team
ain't got any world-class players.
So he's stepping into a team full of stars and stars that have been brought. The key point is all these guys have been brought, Lee, and have they been brought with Potter's blessings? Like you say, I don't think so. I don't think none of these players are with Potter's blessings.
I think slightly different. I think that this has been bubbling for a while. Because the speed that it happened, it was literally you're gone the next day he's in. And when you add in the fact that Cucurella's there, you can start putting a story together and go, well, maybe Cucurella knew. Maybe Potter knew. Yeah, maybe they were already negotiating when Cucurella went to Brighton. I don't know. But the thing is, like, I've seen a lot of people saying, well, why back him and give him all this money if you're going to sack him 6 games later? It's because they ain't his signings. Yeah, they're club signings. And that's Todd Bowley. I said when he first came in, I said he's going to want to make a statement of intent. They've had Roman Abramovich for nearly 20 years, like giving them everything, right? Literally every trophy you can imagine they've won, yeah, and ruthless with it as well. Like you could win the league and you're sacked 6 games later the following season, 10 games, whatever it may be. You know, Di Matteo won the Champions League and got sacked 20 games later, like, you know, because they wanted to go down a different route. There is definitely something between him and Tuchel, and I think it's been bubbling for a while. Hence why they just said, you know what? The next loss, you're out. We'll just wait until the next loss. And then the next loss was Zagreb the other night. See you later. Yeah, and I think that Potter's going to come in there now and he's going to walk in there. And they're obviously, all of these players watch Premier League football. Most of them would watch Premier League football. They all know who Graham Potter is. They'll see the style of play. They're probably all kind of excited. But then there'll be the odd person in there that'll be thinking, well, who the fuck are you, mate? Yeah, if it was
It happens, it happens.
Then you could understand and they'd go, whoa, respect, a Pep, someone, Klopp, whatever. But it's Graham Potter, and we've seen Chelsea players down tools for Jose before. We've seen them down tools for Ancelotti before. So yes, different sets of players, but it's still the same. And these players hold the power at every football club now because they get paid millions. Yeah, and if they don't want to work, they ain't working. You can't.
They're working, man. Simple. You can't do nothing about it.
Mm.
And how many examples have we seen? How many examples have we seen? Players, they're getting paid. They don't give a shit, mate. Look at a guy, Ross Barkley, that's just left them. Like, he's been on big money. You don't give a shit if he's playing football or not. Like, he's been living his life.
Mate, we've got it with Rob Holding, right? Rob Holding's 26 years old. And on that All for Nothing documentary, he actively sat there and said, yeah, well, if my role at the club is just to come on and shore things up for 10 minutes, so be it. I'm like, you're 26, mate. You should be coming into the prime of your career and you're just happy to warm the bench. Why? Because you're living a dream, because you know you ain't good and you're nicking 30, 40, 50 grand a week. Yeah, you ain't going to rock the boat, are you? Because if you leave, you ain't getting paid that anywhere else. And there's a lot of players in football now that are nicking a living. And look, Grizz, you're a bit older than me. You've grown up on proper ballers, man. Like you've seen the Maradonas of this world and like top elite players. Then into the 90s with the Italian clubs and all that. Bro, football now, this era, I said this with Rance the other day. How many of this generation right now that are playing today, forget Lewandowski, Benzema's, players like that, but players that are now just starting their careers or in the middle of their careers, how many of them are going to go down as greats?
No, they wouldn't be able to hack it, bro. They wouldn't have been able to hack it. The level of class. People forget the advancement of technology, medical care, pitches. Do you know how important these things are? People turn a blind eye to it. When you see some of the pitches Loud Drops and Maradonas and Zidane's were playing on, and then no such thing as fucking corrective surgery to a basic cartilage operation. Like I was telling my boy, I don't know if you saw clips of our foot goal for the Big Six here. People saying, Grizz, we saw your technique. I said, listen, I don't want to make excuses, but I've got 25% of my cartilage in my right knee. I've only got 25% left. And they were like, shut up. I was like, yeah. I go, I do know it looks ugly. I admit it looks ugly. I do know football. And I tell you, I used to be able to strike the ball. Like you can see in my small game, but kicking, I've only got 25% cartilage. I was like, what happened? I said, well, mine was removed when I was 25, good 20 years ago. Yeah, good 20 years ago. And they didn't have nothing. Like in terms of replacement cartilage, all these days you can just get it snipped off, this and that. They just took 75% of it out. And that's with footballers as well. Van Basten, do you think Van Basten's career would have ended if it was modern day surgery allowed, whatever? You're talking about the elite
footballers. Didn't he retire at like 26?
Yeah, ridiculous. Now I know you fucking call me old, but Johan Cruyff was before my time, right? Stop that, right? Fuck's sake. But Van Basten, oh my God. I grew up like I was just getting into football when Van Basten was running amok, right? And I didn't understand at the time what early retirement means. You know, you think, oh, he's picked up an injury, all right, all well and good. But now when you look back in 2022 and you think, Van Basten retired fucking at that age, it's a travesty, Lee. It's a travesty. People think Benzema is good now, yeah? And Benzema, of course, Benzema is fucking good. I'm not saying, but I'm telling you that was Van Basten. But Van Basten was twice Benzema. So imagine that. Because Marco Van Basten was cold.
He was mad.
These careers ended early, man. These careers, so many more.
But that's also because you were allowed to get away with kicking people back then.
Yeah. So
it's like kicking lumps out of each other every week. Yeah, then without proper surgery back then compared to now.
Lee, do you remember some of the fucking tackles on Ronaldo?
Breathe on them and they're on the floor now. Yellow card.
Lee, some of the tackles that were allowed on R9 in the early days even. Crazy, ridiculous. Forget about Maradona. Maradona, I don't know how he's... That's why for me, Maradona is fucking magic. Like magic. You know that word magic? Because he was allowed to be assaulted on. You were allowed to assault Maradona, Lee.
Proper.
No, proper. Like knee him in the back, pull his hair, kick him, punch him, everything.
Kicks and all sorts, mate. Studs up. They were metal studs then as well.
Well, you knew you'd get a yellow card.
Mate, look at Vinnie Jones there in that final.
Fucking hell.
Literally blows the whistle to kick the game off, and he just goes bang straight through it.
Crazy.
That'd be 3 red cards now.
That's a 7-10 game suspension. You'd be in jail. And he'd done that on a regular basis. People, you probably got a lot of youngsters in there. People don't go and check out Vinnie Jones on YouTube. Even you'll be think, what? How was this allowed?
Who was it on? Was it Steve McMahon? Was it McMahon?
Steve McMahon.
Yeah.
And Steve McMahon wasn't no pussy.
In a cup
Steve
final.
McMahon wasn't no pussy. Like Steve McMahon would have looked for his, got up straight away and said, what?
Yeah.
These days they would have gone rolling into the fucking other goal.
Mate, that was literally straight from kickoff in a cup final. Yeah. I swear, I can't remember the last time I've seen a tackle like that. Yeah,
do you know that was the old adage? That's the old adage in it. Sunday League football. Let them know you're there.
Yeah, let them know you're there from the first whistle.
For the first whistle. That was let them know you're there from the first. Where he saw fucking red, man. He went bang into him. But all them Gascoigne. Do you know how good Gascoigne was? People need to know how good Paul Gascoigne was. Like if you're talking about the current players. There was ballers out there, man.
This is why my favorite player in my lifetime is Messi. Yeah, because Messi is a throwback, isn't he? Yeah, he's a proper throw, and that's another one. He does get kicked a lot. Obviously, it's a different type of kicking now.
Yeah,
I'm going to go flying into.
It's more sly. It's more sly now.
But that's what I like.
Pulling.
Footballer, man. Like
see now it's pure pulling, little nibbles at you on the back of your ankle when I'm not looking, trying to rile you up, trying to rattle you. Them days. I don't give a shit if the ref sees it. What's he going to do? Gazza was a true talent, you know.
Metal studs straight down your Achilles.
I know you probably got loads of Arsenal people in here, but I'm sorry to bring up fucking Gascoigne, but Gascoigne was just... Even Arsenal, man. Arsenal had some... Paul Merson, I know he talks crap now, but Paul Merson was called the Magic Man for a reason, man. I don't know you guys' opinions on Paul Merson, but
I love him.
Again, mate. I grew up watching Paul Merson, mate. Paul Merson was my fucking early footballing days.
Where I used to live, yeah, like I used to go to school with his family and like the kids, and they were related to Merce. Yeah, and every weekend or midweek when there wasn't a game or whatever, he'd come over and play football over the local park with them and that. Yeah, we all used to join in. It was like, and obviously I'm Arsenal. I was like, this is Merson. It's Merson. Like, have a kick about with Merce every now and again. He was class though, man. He was, and this is the thing. When people sit there and tell me, oh, you got to rate Odegaard, you got to rate this. Mate, I've seen Paul Merson. Yeah, I've seen fucking Bergkamp. Yeah, like turn it in. Like Odegaard's a nice, tidy little player. Yeah, these players were different. Like Merson was just mad. I think he got Young Player of the Year in his first full season.
Mate, listen, and again, everything that we talk about, education, on and off the pitch, psychologists, personal fitness trainers, day-to-day coaching and caring, like professional people around you. These fucking lads didn't have none of that. They would literally turn up drunk, training and matches, and put on performances like that. The talent that came out of these boys. I mean, I don't want to harp on about, people are going to say, "Oh, fucking Lee and Grizz chatting about old days," but
no, I made the chat love it. When me and
facts are facts. Facts are facts. These guys, like, everyone wants to know, like, because you know what it is, when you listen to him now, you think, "Oh, shut up," because he talks a lot, like, and I don't agree with a lot what he says, but when you see him play football, you realize why he was called the Magic Man Merson. Like, oh man, you know, Paul Davis. Oh, people don't even know about how good
met Paul
Davis was
outside the Emirates. Everyone was just walking past him, mate. They didn't know who he was.
Yeah, these people don't give a baby.
I melted. I was like, "Yo, Paul Davis," you know. Yeah, and it's the same when I see Charlie George. Right, we used to park in the underground car park every now and again at the Emirates, and then you get the lift up to the concourse, right? And the lift opened, and Charlie George come out the lift, mate. I froze. I was like,
of course you do.
He was gone. Like, I was like, Charlie fucking George, mate. But he could walk around the Emirates, and hardly anyone would know him. I was outside the Emirates with Kevin Campbell once, yeah, after we played Watford, and thousands of people just walking past him, didn't know who he was. It's mad, and he won titles with Arsenal, man. Do you know what I mean?
That's why when people talk about glorifying players today, yeah, look, it is what it is, isn't it? You're in your current moment, you're in your current time, and I can understand it. And obviously, each decade's going to talk about their own decade's players, but sometimes put some respect on people that have seen 2 decades of worth of players. Do you know what I mean? Like, they may have seen players of equal ability, or if not more.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So it is what it is, man.
That's true, man. It's true. Listen, we're going to wrap this up in 5-10 minutes, guys. Grizz wants to watch the cricket. I know somebody else right at the very beginning if he's watching the cricket. His family in the room sending him updates on the phone.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of madness. Like Pakistan are like Liverpool, man. They're wild at the moment. Like, they can smash it, and then they can look like fucking amateurs. People will tell you, yeah, exactly. Stuart saying Grizz ain't watched Diogo. Like, why would you say that? Like, why haven't I watched Diego? Like, I think maybe you're trying to compliment me and saying maybe I'm not that old. So I'll take that as a compliment. But why wouldn't I watch Diego? Like, fucking the best player in the world.
You know what? I didn't know this until last year that Maradona played for Sevilla. I never knew that. Yeah, and it was like, no, I see. So I think it may have been a documentary or something I was watching on Netflix or Amazon. Yeah, no, that was it. It was the Diego Simeone documentary, and Diego Simeone played with Maradona.
Oh wow, yeah, that would have happened.
And he got given the number 10 shirt from Argentina, didn't he, Simeone? And he was like, "Whoa, the iconic number 10 is mine."
That's right.
They played with each other at Sevilla. Yeah, I want to ask you very quickly before I come on to Arsenal for the last segment. Yeah, have you watched the Luis Figo documentary?
I've got it saved. I've got it ready. I haven't started it. Everyone tells me it's fucking mental.
We're old enough to remember that transfer happening.
Oh,
the ins and outs of it. Yeah, and you get Figo's side, you get the agent side, you get the club side. Like, it is.
People don't know how wild that transfer was. Like, going from
at him and everything, man.
People don't know how toxic that transfer was, and the bigger people. And this is what I mean about mafia and football. These things happen. The mafia runs football at that level.
Unveiling him, and Florentino Perez was unveiling him. Right? They zoomed in on the documentary, bro. He was shitting himself. Like, and he's standing there being unveiled as a Real Madrid player, and his face, he didn't smile once when they're unveiling. He's holding the shirt. It's like. He was shaking, mate. He was scared. Yeah. And that's why, like, I sit there and, like, we all get abuse on the internet. Yeah. Like, I get more than most, right? But that's probably my own doing, to be fair. But when you realize that you've got 100,000 people at the Nou Camp that all want to stab you to death, right? Do you know what I mean? It makes a little bit of internet trolling like look different, doesn't it?
Man. Absolutely. Fucking hell, mate. This is water off a duck's back, man, when you compare it to the shit that he must have fucking got, man. That was. But I tell you, Lee, can you imagine?
He said he never went back to Barcelona. He had a house in Barcelona. He said he never went back.
Lee, what would we compare it to the modern day?
We could say Sol Campbell from Tottenham to Spurs, but the two clubs are not on that level of of trophies and exposure and fan base, and like we're smaller clubs than Real Madrid and Barca.
Would we say Salah to City?
I'd say Pep or Klopp going the other way, like manager-wise. If we're talking player, that'd be
Kevin De Bruyne to Liverpool,
Salah to City, or KDB to
Liverpool. It's something like that. I don't know. I'm trying to work out. But even Man City and Liverpool's not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't think we're ever going to see a level like that.
That rivalry was fucking mental. You see the derbies and the atmospheres and everything around that era. It was wild.
You know what the funny thing is? I didn't know this at the time. So I used to be bang into Spanish football back then as well, like the Galacticos and all of this. Yeah, they were sick, man. Yeah, and they interviewed him and said, "Do you regret it?" And he said, "Blah blah blah." And then he said, "But the fact is, they never won another league after I left for 5 years." Yeah, so he triggered Barcelona fans even more in the documentary now, isn't it? It's like
Luis Figo is another underrated, not spoken about player. Right. Luis Figo was magic. Like you look at him and all right, everyone talks about his good looks and he didn't want to get dirty. But I tell you, he's another one that players wanted to kill on the pitch, and he will just glide past them.
But that's the thing; he was deceptively quick. It didn't look like he was rapid, but it just glides straight past you.
Deceptively quick. That's it. Oh, technical,
that's
man.
The thing. You don't need to have lightning pace. Mahrez ain't got lightning pace. He'll just fucking sit you on your ass. And then
absolutely.
Yeah, there's loads of players like that in that era. Yeah, there's not many like that now. Yeah, there's not 100%. Many. When you look at technical footballers now, there's not that many. Back then, every player had to have.
I was thinking about someone the other day. My mind's gone blank. I might remember it now. I can think of only 1 or 2 players that have got no pace but still managed to beat players with body swerves. Oh man, I was talking about it the other day. My mind's gone blank now. Fucking old age. Bobby Perez was a great example. Wow, that's a proper example. You know, very similar. Not blessed with great pace, but how many times would he just body swerve by a player and create that chance to shoot or
always
cross
against Spurs as well? Even if he was sat on the bench, he'd come off the bench. We'd be like, right, well, that's a guaranteed goal then. 5 minutes later, bang, Perez.
I'm sorry to bring back to Liverpool. Steve McManaman wasn't crazy quick, but would glide past footballers. Glide past footballers with pure dribbling and body swerves.
Listen, there's 1,800 people in here. Smash the likes through the roof. Big up Isco as well. Love for the love always, bro. And make sure you subscribe to GRIZZ'S channel. If you're watching on playback, it's in the description. And if you're watching live, it's in the live chat. Yeah, Zola. He's one of my all-time favorites, mate.
I know Cazorla as well. Cazorla, they're talking about Cazorla.
And he said, what's the 3 best players in the Premier League? Because he said something about Ronaldo's the best Premier League player of all time or something. I said, no, mate. I said, Bergkamp, Cantona, and Zola. Yeah, so they were like, and I went viral on that. It was all over Sport Bible. It was everyone was gunning for me because I didn't put Henry in there. Yeah, and it was like, you're saying Zola was better than Henry. I was like, no, that's just the type of footballer I like a number 10 type footballer. Yeah, but then people were like, but you didn't rate Ozil. Yeah, because he's not on the same planet as them 3 I've just mentioned. Like Cantona was just a joke. Yeah, but Zola, I mean, you remember this when he went to Great Ormond Street and the kid was ill. And he was a Chelsea fan. And he said, the next game, I'm going to score a special goal for you. And then he scored that back heel off the corner.
Do you remember that little flick?
How can you be that fucking good? Yeah, that you're telling this really sick child that I'm going to score. He's going to be sitting there thinking he's going to score. And then what if you don't? Yeah, but you're that good and you're that skillful that you go and do that in the next game against Norwich. Bro,
people are coming out some class shouts like Lippmann and I forgot about Lippmann.
Lippmann,
I know he came to Liverpool when he was finished a little bit.
Yeah.
But Lippmann was a sick baller. Di Canio.
Yeah, another one. That scissor kick he done, man. Off the goal. But this is a shout as well, Riquelme. I remember when we got to the Champions League final, we played Villarreal and he missed the penalty, didn't he? It went to penalties. Yeah, and whoever won went to the final and he missed the penalty. Yeah, he was a fucking good player, that boy, man. Really.
Yeah, Riquelme. Again, one of those ones that you could try rough him up, but he would just be so ahead of you.
As well.
Yeah, Pablo Aimar was back in the Rafa Benitez.
Look all these players that these people are reeling out in the chat, yeah. Like now you get them to do it in this era, right now. We ain't reeling out all these names.
Like, Seedorf, man. People are talking about Seedorf. Seedorf was sick. Proper sick.
Matt Le Tissier is one of my favourite players as well.
Matt Le Tissier was so fucking like he oozed natural ability. You look at him and you think, all right, he's not slim trim, he's not quick, he ain't got pace, right? He looks like proper guy that you pick up from the pub and say, and he's one of those you can imagine sitting in a pub having a pint, right, and thinking, I could do this, and people are laughing at him, right? So you go, shut up, why are you talking? Right? These are athletes, and he's like, all right, get me on the pitch. And he was one of those guys that you just
can't get near
you just watch him, you know, do bang, top volley, top corner, and you think, whoa, do you know them adverts? Like he'd be
and he's doing it for Southampton. Do you remember the volleys he was scoring against United and shit, man? It was just pathetic, wasn't it? Like,
you're literally doing this
against world-class footballers.
He scored against Blackburn.
Easy.
When Blackburn won the title, when Blackburn were in that, I don't know if they won the title that season, but they were good. And he scored that, takes it in, takes it out, and then whips it into the top corner.
Yeah.
Half lob, half shot, half whatever you want, but he meant it. Fucking outrageous. You don't see goals like that on Match of the Day. He used to do it every weekend, yes or no, Lee?
Literally
every weekend. Every weekend we watch Match of the Day, and you knew what's Matt Letizia done tonight.
It's true, isn't it?
It's true.
Mate, he never scored a shit goal. Like,
never scored a tap
goal
in.
was a picture book goal, man. I think he only ever missed one penalty. I think Mark Crossley saved it. I think it was Mark Crossley that saved his penalty.
Wow.
Only one penalty he's missed out, like 47 or something. I mean, he was just pathetic, man. And like you said, he just looks like a regular geezer, doesn't he? Like, but I remember watching a documentary on him. I think it was James. Was it James English or was it someone else? James English dropped one with him recently. It was someone else, and he said that he was actually really good at cricket as well. Like, it was like he could play top level cricket. I was like, fucking hell. Like, you look at the guy and you just
another weirdo off the pitch. Right? And you listen to him now, and he's a pure mad. He's gone mad. He's gone pure weird. But this is what I mean. Genius. These people, they say all geniuses are a bit mental, innit? They've got something wild and crazy about them. And you look at Matt Letizia and people are going to think, oh, fuck that. But watch Matthew Letizia, people. Watch clips of Matthew Letizia and you're going to say, what? Because I reckon a lot of people don't even remember him. Like, obviously the youngsters won't. And they're going to just remember him now that he's chatting a load of shit everywhere.
And yeah, right? I don't realise. You know what? They always say that, like, when you're in professional football at a high level, really high level, that when you come out of that, it's very hard to get used to not going to training every day, not playing a match and having that 50,000 crowd or 30,000 crowd all loving you. Yeah, it's like, what do you do now? I'm sat at home. What do I do? Like, and some people do go mad. Like,
yeah, they do. No, you're right. You're right.
You're going into training. You're with your mates every day. Yeah,
no, you're spot on.
Pitch twice a week, and you've got 50, 60,000 people.
No, that's a very, very fucking good point from you, mate. That's where the authorities
should do more, man.
When people talk about mental problems and issues, you're so spot on, because every personality, every player is different. And their lifestyles are different. And when they've got into a routine for, like, I don't know, let's say they start playing at 18 up to 35, right? That's 17 years of pure routine. That's all they know. And then suddenly they've got nothing else. So yeah, that's a great point by you, man. People don't think about that enough.
Yeah, it's true. The authorities need to do more, man. I've said on the show before that, like, the wages they're getting is obscene. Like, it really is. Like, for kicking a ball around, it is a joke what they get paid. But I think the Premier League, the FA, whoever it may be, yeah, the Players Association, they should say, look, every time you get paid, 10 or 20% we bank for you for retirement. Because there's a lot of footballers that are skint when they finish playing, even in this
100%. 100%.
Because then that way, if you're getting paid £100 a week, obviously you've got to do your tax and all of that off. Let's say it's 50 grand you've got left. Yeah, 20% of that should go into a holding fund until you're finished, right? And you're done. And then they give you the money back. Yeah, and then
it's for the benefit. Absolutely, families will appreciate that.
50 grand a week, you have a serious issue anyway if you're spending 50 grand every week. Right? So surely you can put 20% of that in a pot with the PFA, the Players Association, whatever it may be. Like, I don't know, but I don't think it will ever be done. I don't think it will. And
it's difficult to implement, isn't it? It's difficult to implement. I don't know how you're right. I don't know how they would do that. Well, actually, it might get done. You never know. Hopefully, you'd like to think, oh, Nedved, don't.
Mate, I've never put in Nedved in the GOAT category. He fucking robbed Thierry Henry of a Ballon d'Or. Robbed him. No,
he did.
We are going to wrap this up in a minute, lads. Make sure you smash the likes up and sub to Grizz. I'm going to get a beer while Grizz tells us how great Mikel Arteta is. What have you?
I think this is the time.
Arsenal this season. Go on. I'm going to grab a beer. I'll be 5
minutes. This is the time. This is the time Lee goes to grab a beer, people. Because look, Arsenal fans, it's the worst sentence that for you guys, isn't it? It's all about trust in the process. But so far, so good. You have to speak on it. So far, so good. I genuinely think, and I said at the start of the season, you'll get top 4. If you don't get top 4, it's a calamity after the money that you've spent in the last 2 windows. He needed to spend that money in the last 2 windows. You got to remember, your squad was full of crap. I don't care what people say. In my opinion, it was full of crap. But now you can see a young, hungry mob in there who are playing how he wants them to play. And if he doesn't achieve the objectives now, then by all means, sack him, get rid of him, because this is his best opportunity. So it's a kind of ultimate pressure on him now, because there's no, it's like what I said about Tuchel, but Tuchel didn't fucking survive the cut. Because I was going to say, this is Tuchel's season without no excuses, because everyone's talking about Tuchel. You know what I mean? But this is his Arteta season, man. No excuses. Just like Conte has to deliver at Spurs, right? Because he's a big manager, big name manager, has money to spend, has had an initial season to set his stall out. Just like that, Arteta has had his couple of seasons to build his squad, to build his player, his mentality, his way of playing. And if you don't fulfill it this season, mate, you're in the mud. But I genuinely think you will, Lee. I genuinely think you will. I know you don't. I know maybe loads on this channel won't. I'm telling you guys, Arsenal are certified top 4. Clip that. Do what you got to do. You're certified top 4. I said Gabriel Jesus is going to be signing of the season. So far, I don't see anyone. I don't see anyone that's topped Gabriel Jesus in terms of the impact he's made for his club. He might not have got the goals that fucking Haaland's got or whatever, but his impact around, you know what I mean? And he's demoted other players that I don't think are up to Arsenal standard. So they can only
spot on. He's made the other players around him think, whoa,
levels, man, levels.
Not only that, every time he gets the ball, there's now that excitement of he's going to do something. He's going to do. Whereas last season we didn't have that. The one thing I'll say is 4 of our players, Smith Rowe, Xhaka, Ramsdale, and Odegaard, all came out before the season started on pre-season, saying that the aim is top 4 in Europa League. So now our fan base is saying top 4 in Europa League. Do you think we'll win the Europa League?
It's way too early. I don't know. Sometimes you got to remember some big boys are going to drop out of the Champions League. Like people are fucking been throwing the Liverpool saying, "Oh, we're coming down to the Europa League." Do you know what I mean? So it does, innit? It does depend on what big boys drop out of the Champions League. But right now, you'd say Man United and Arsenal should 100% be the favourites, right? To
well, if you look at
Europa League
as it stands right now with the Europa
League.
League,
forgive me, I don't know the other teams in the Europa League. Forgive me, I don't check the teams.
Roma are probably the only 2.
I think you can beat both of them. I think you can beat both of them. I'm not gonna lie.
Roma lost the other night. They lost the other night, I think.
There you go. I don't rate Roma like some people do.
I think people rate Roma because it's Jose, isn't it? And Europe,
yep.
Jose, you know, he is the special one, of course.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think like the Champions League is gonna be the determining factor, because you've got Inter Milan, Bayern, and Barca all in the same group, so one of them's dropping.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like instantly, whoever drops out there becomes favourites, right? Instantly. Of course, man. Inter, Bayern, and Barca. One of them drops out, they're instant favourites. But right now, if you ask me, I think you're cert for a top 4 finish.
Unless Chelsea. So you're obviously putting yourself in there. Liverpool,
Chelsea United.
City,
Chelsea United.
Tottenham. I think Tottenham as well. Arsenal, Tottenham, City.
Conte effect, Lee. Conte effect. I think a bastard of a manager.
I still don't think we're getting top 4. And the reason I don't is if Man United, and I know they lost the other night, but if Man United get their shit together, yeah, they with that front 3 that they've got, even though I don't rate Rashford, but Martial is going to be back. They've still got Ronaldo's come off the bench. He's looked a shadow of the player he was at Madrid and Juve. He's looked shit since he's been there. And I think with Anthony now, with Sancho playing on his preferred side, and then with Rashford, they're going to scare a lot of teams with pace, man. Yeah, and so a lot of teams are going to play low blocks against them. Yeah, and then it's have they got?
I hear you, and I hear that. But for me, I think it's what's the word? A false dawn for United. False dawn yet. It's not. They're not ready yet. People getting gassed over United. But then I don't think they're gonna like you guys played them off the park the other day. I know you lost, and
we were just, it was stupid because that game when we got the equaliser, I was like, cool, now steady the ship. Yeah, we've got a goal.
Naivety, pure naivety.
Yeah, his substitutions totally cost us that game. We were 2-1 down. Yeah, we didn't steady the ship. They went straight up the other end and scored for 3-4 minutes later. And it was like, right, then he threw 3 on and just went gung ho. He put our wingers at fucking wing back. Yeah, it was like, so we've not got no fullbacks on the pitch now. We're playing with our wingers. It was like, it was just so wide open. And then we're playing a stupidly high line against them. And it was like, well, we've just conceded a high line. Why are you doing that? And totally exposing midfield when they've got Bruno, who had a great game, Ericsson, who I thought was superb, and they can pick a pass. I just thought he cost us the game, but he's going to do that a few times this season. And then, to be fair, yeah, we did play pretty well. But at the end of the day, if that little 20-minute segment or 15-minute segment where they scored them 2 goals, that was at the very beginning and we were 2-0 down, and then we come back and lost 3-1, nobody would say we had a good game.
100%. I agree with you. It's going to be naivety, and he's still learning on the job. I know you don't want to hear it, and people don't want to hear it, but I think he is. And it's unfortunate because it's at your club, and no one wants to hear it for their club. Like you're thinking, I don't want a fucking manager to be learning on the job in my club, but it is what it is at the moment until he gets rid of. Until you get rid of him, which won't happen unless he finishes at the top 4. So it is what it is. People are saying in the chat, Grizz, I hope you aren't saying Klopp out. No. If you're coming in, that was the question, posed by Arsenal and by other players. I'm in no fucking way. Before we go, end it. I'm in no way.
I don't want you getting grief.
No, but it's right. Nobody's right. Questions have to be asked. Look, when you're playing shit and you're Liverpool Football Club, questions have to be asked. I'm not fucking immune to questioning, about your club when you're playing shit. But as I said, we've been in far worse positions before, far worse. And we'll be back. If I promise, if this shit happens, after the international break and we put in performances like with all our players, I promise to come back on Lee's channel. Even if he doesn't invite me, I'll still come back and fucking come in and hijack his channel, and I'll say, you know what? Yeah, Liverpool in the mud. But until then, it's a bad start. We're 5 points off Man City, who have been incredible, apparently.
If
the game, we're 5 points off.
Because I think the funeral's on next Monday. So if they do allow the games to go ahead, I'm not sure. They haven't said anything as far as I know.
I can't see it happening.
I can't see it either.
I can't see it happening, yeah.
No, which means that you'll have to chat. Who's your next Champions League game? Is it Ajax?
It's going to be Ajax this Tuesday, which I'm hopefully going to. And then it's going to be Brighton at home, our next fixture, which is 3-4 weeks away.
Wow.
It's wild.
If the games don't come back this weekend, we got PSV on Thursday, and then we got Spurs and Liverpool.
Oh.
Yeah, Spurs, Liverpool, and then then we've got Leeds, and then I think we might have Man City after that. Yeah, October. We got 9 games in October, mate.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. I don't know how they're going to do this. You know that.
It's mad, isn't it? The 2 games that have been postponed, if this weekend gets postponed, they're not going to be able to reschedule them until January, February.
This is going to be mad. You know that, Lee. It's going to be mad. This is why I keep saying, people keep saying that when I say long season, I'm aiming it at one particular club. I'm not, because I keep tweeting long season and everyone thinks I'm fucking talking about Chelsea, right? And I'm giving a go at Chelsea, whatever. I'm all right. I may have started off having a go at Chelsea about it because I predicted Chelsea's downfall a long time ago, and that's why people hate me, the Chelsea fans, because I said, you lot, trust me, you lot are in the mud. And now they're seeing why I said it. But when I say long season, it's for everyone. It's a wild season, Lee. This is going to be a season like no other. So brace yourselves. Enjoy it. It's going to be wild. It's going to be mad. It's trying to predict this season is wild. That's what I'm saying, people.
Hey, you never know. This could be a Leicester season and Mikel Arteta's process bangs.
Wild.
Then I'm definitely in the mud.
Hey, listen, I'd love to be in that mud that you're fucking in, man.
Hey, mate,
I'd love that mud.
I said at the start of the season, yeah, when we started winning all the games before United, I said, this is all I want to do. I just want to win every game. Like, and if he gets us in a title race and we're in that title race to the final month of the season, I'll sit there and I'll go fair play. Yeah, but he won't. But if he does, I will be the first one to sit there and say, do you know what? cool. I can see
Win-win.
what's come now, and it's a process that has come to fruition. Yes, we're in the race, and that's all I want. Just be there, be part of it, man. Be part of the question. Are Arsenal going to win it? Are they going to do the last 3 games and gazump Liverpool or City? That's all I want. But
just got confirmation that the Liverpool Ajax game will go ahead. If there's any Liverpool people in the chat, Liverpool Ajax is confirmed to go ahead. So that's great news.
There you go. And yeah, UEFA and FIFA are built different. Listen, it's been a pleasure having you on, man. And there's been loads.
Hey, mate, you know, we fucking just flew 1 hour 10 minutes, and just 2 of us. We could have gone on for fucking hours and hours.
5 hours comfortably.
Easy. We only spoke about
in the mud, mate. It's 26 degrees outside. You know what I
mean? Get back in the mud, mate. Take off all your clothes.
Yeah, mate. Anyone who doesn't know, right, what he's talking about. When I was backstage, I was buttoning up my shirt. I was like, yeah, I don't normally wear clothes, mate. I just have shorts. You know what I mean? Shorts. That's it. Yeah, and I have to put clothes on to do the stream. Obviously, nobody wants to see my skinny body, mate. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But what have you got coming up?
Yeah, man, fucking hell. Content obviously now is going to be a little bit less, but I've got near enough something every night, man. You know what I mean? It's not only Liverpool. So if anybody likes listening to my waffle, come on over, GRIZZ'S TV, have a laugh, have a joke. I tell you how it is. I like interacting as well. I don't like people just giving one opinion and everyone nodding their head to that same opinion. Like, you know, the Churchill dog, like everyone agrees with everyone. Yes. So I like, I like difference of opinion. So if you want a bit of football chat, I do a call-in show that's for every club, every channel on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. So yeah, man, thanks for having me on, man. It's been a pleasure as always. Big up League Gun every time.
Love, man. Appreciate it. I know you we timed this badly because the cricket's on, so I'm going to let you go. Can't watch the cricket. Good luck to your team and your country, and hopefully football will be back soon. And man. GRIZZ'S channel, people. If you're watching on playback, it's in the description. If you're watching live, it's the pinned comment in the live chat. Smash the likes up. Still 1,600 watching, and we're out of here. I'm done for the day. I'll be back again tomorrow. Podcast with Kenny and Jez. Looking forward to that. And yeah, we're out of here. Arteta Fuera. Adios, amigos. Laters.